Hi, welcome to another episode of Walking the Path. Today I'm up in the Highlands of Scotland. At the side of me here is the River Ness, and on the other side of me here is the canal. And just above here is where it joins Loch Ness, home of the famous Loch Ness Monster. We'll keep our eyes open for it today. I'm here to speak at a conference tomorrow called Change Your World, where I'll be presenting the goal mapping system. Those of you that are familiar with my work and my story will know that I grew up in a travelling family. I didn't go to school very much. I left school at 13 and I didn't learn to read and write properly until I was around 30. I'd really overcome my learning challenges through positive thinking. And within a couple of years, I'd started work as a trainer and a speaker, and I created the goal mapping system. Almost immediately, people were suggesting I should write a book on goal mapping. And it was something I really wanted to do, and it felt like it was part of my path and would serve people, part of my purpose. And I was also really afraid to do it. I didn't think any publisher would be interested in a book from a gypsy boy that had only learnt to read and write recently. And so I decided I would self-publish. And I also knew that my ability to spell was really awful. Although I'd learnt to read and write, my spelling wasn't good, and things like punctuation and grammar were just absolute mystery to me. And so it was recommended that I work with this freelance editor, and he was also a personal development leader, and he was actually very expensive. It cost me every penny I had at the time, and we worked together for a year on the goal of writing the goal mapping book. And at the end of the year we had the draft manuscript, the book ready, and were due to go to the printers to print 10,000 copies. And the night before the print run I got so incredibly nervous. I just felt sick, I couldn't sleep, I was restless, I had this feeling in my stomach that something was terribly wrong, but logically I couldn't see what it could be. And the next day I cancelled the print run. And around about midday the guy phoned me, the editor, and he said, "How's the print going?" And I said, "I haven't gone ahead with it." And he said, "What?" I said, "I had this really bad feeling last night that something was right." He said, "You don't deserve to be on stage teaching people about goal setting because you don't even have enough belief in yourself to follow through and achieve your own goal of publishing your book." He said, "You should be ashamed of yourself." And it went on for maybe 30 minutes, and I just felt so awful when I got off the phone. A few weeks later I was in London at a Tony Robbins seminar, and I wasn't actually there for the seminar. I was there to meet the MD of the company that operated all of the Robbins seminars around Europe. And they booked me to run a series of goal mapping workshops in different countries, and at those workshops we were going to supply the goal mapping book to the delegates. And so in the meeting he said, "Brian, where's your book?" I said, "I haven't brought it." He said, "What?" I said, I don't have it." He said, "What do you mean?" I said, "I had this really bad feeling just before the printing," and he said, "You need to go in that seminar, listen to Tony Robbins, get a bit more personal power." He said, "What do you think you're doing?" And again I went away feeling really awful. A few months later I was in Italy to run a goal mapping workshop organised by my spiritual godmother Bruna Ferrari, and I went to her and I told her what had been going on, almost in tears. And she said to me, "I don't think that you lack belief in yourself. I think that you've actually been brave and you've listened to your intuition that something wasn't right. And what's important now is that you honour the ancient principle of holding the intention, holding your faith and belief, and being flexible about when the goal happens and how the goal happens. A movement with repose, an effort with ease." And I went away feeling much better, and I also questioned, is she just being nice because I'm like her son? But not long after arriving back in England, I was asked to write a magazine article on goal mapping, which was actually hugely popular and got reprinted a number of times in different journals. And then a phone call come one day from an editor of a publishing company, and he said, "I've been reading your article about your goal mapping system." He said, "Have you thought about writing a book on it?" I said, "I've got one." He said, bring it straight over, we'll get it right into print and pick up on this good publicity that you've gained recently. And so I went with the manuscripts and I gave them to the publishing team, and they fell off their chairs laughing. It was awful. It was riddled with spelling mistakes and inconsistencies and grammatical errors. All the things I'd paid this guy to do, he'd really done none of it, and I'd been cheated, and I was too naive at the time to know. There's an important lesson here. If I had pushed through with my personal power and ego to make the goal happen by the time I said I would have had 10,000 copies of a book that wasn't fit for purpose. Because I trusted intuition, but I also balanced that with holding the intention that the book would come when the time was right. Then it came about in the perfect way. With a specialist editor. It took another year to work on the book, but here it is. It's been reprinted now many times, it's in many languages, and it's here as a reality because I honoured the ancient principle of holding the intention and being flexible in how it manifested. Sometimes it's difficult to know the difference between fear and desire and intuition, and so we need to quieten ourselves and connect with our heart. Whatever path you are on, whatever intention you hold, honour the ancient principle. Find that balance, a movement with repose. It's the balance between heart and head. It's the balance between making it happen and also just sitting back sometimes and allowing it to happen. It's the balance between your personal power and your divine flow. I wish you well. I'll see you again next week with another chunk of thought and wisdom about life. Bye for now.